Во продолжение од Берлин одиме во Брисел, каде исто така владее високо ниво на мобилизација за состојбата во Македонија. Колегата Владимир Мирчевски таму имаше можност да го праша германскиот европратеник Флекенштајн, кој е дел од Европската олеснувачка четворка, што понатаму.
To giving common messages, we try. Edward Kukan and I try it in Albania. We tried now together with Mr. Weigel in Macedonia. But at least in Macedonia, when it is too late, it is too late. And I'm very concerned about the situation there, because everybody knows how democracy functions, but those who are in power doesn't want to change the rule and getting in opposition. And I'm not sure how we can change this. If we say name and shame, it's very, very important that we all look to our party family more precise than we did in the past. So for the time being, for a Social Democrat, it's quite easy because the really bad boys are from the other side.
I have a question for Mr. Fleckenstein. I've noticed a big disappointment in your speech concerning Macedonia. You were there 10 days ago. You weren't very clear how the situation should be resolved. How can there be a transfer of power between the current government and the upcoming political majority? Mr. Bibber mentioned the idea, possibility of sanctions, and you also mentioned the responsibility of the European political groups. I know that your colleague, Mr. Kukan, is not here from the EPP. Do you mean that there is a need of bigger scrutiny by political groups towards member parties that are not part of the European Union, like, let's say, the ruling party now in Macedonia?
First of all, was I disappointed? Yes, in fact, very disappointed. How to come out? The answer would be, let's try with democracy. After elections, if there is a coalition built with 67 people, they should get the opportunity to build a government. But as we know, the Pomeroy is not willing to move in a way. So I think the voters should know that there is really nobody in the European Union, even not in the party family of Mr. Kruzewski, who is supporting that policy. And that the voters should hear, that they don't misunderstand that it's not a question left and right, it's a question democracy, yes or no.
Ова беше европратеникот Флекенштајн. За прашањето за можни санкции и односот на Европската народна партија кон Македонија и кон ВМРО ДПМН, колегата Мирчевски во Брисел кратко разговараше и со познавачот на регионалните состојби Бибер, професор на Универзитетот во град Австрија.
Mr. Bibber, do you see a clear possibility of EU or some other, let's say, country like United States imposing sanctions on individual sanctions on some person in Macedonia?
Well, I think that the longer this crisis continues and the longer we see the intransigence in particular of President Ivanov, I think that sanctions might be the only option left for outside actors. I mean, the EU has been mediating for 2 years now and has been in fact taking a very soft-spoken approach in general to the crisis in Macedonia. But now I think it's really hitting a wall in the sense that if there is no movement and any suggestion alternative to giving a majority the ability to govern is really disregarding basic principles of democracy, I don't see what other option the European Union or the United States will have but to impose some kind of sanctions, individual sanctions against individuals who are preventing the democratic succession of power.
The role of European people's parties in the whole case, do you think that there should be more pressure by them to the party, ruling party, still ruling party, that is a member of the EPP?
I mean, I think it's a long-lasting problem. Many of the member parties or associate members of both the EPP and the Socialists have been disregarding democratic principles. I think Vimero is the most blatant example of that. There are others, of course, like Fidesz in Hungary and others. And I think the only appropriate solution would be to be suspended, at least until there's a clear recommitment to basic democratic principles. And I think that the European People's Party can play a much more productive role by actually being clear, saying that this kind of behavior is not acceptable for a democratic, mainstream political party in Europe. And I think this would have an effect because we see that the Vimero has been using its political capital with the European People's Party to legitimize itself in the election campaign and afterwards. And that, of course, the European People's Party needs to be aware that it's being abused to some degree by Vimero to excuse some of the abuses of democratic rules it's engaging in.
Thank you.